So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a particularly interesting, unique video requested by you because I asked on my Facebook page that hey, you guys want me to make any special videos? So there was a great suggestion about how to understand your children. What is it that you need to look for in the most easiest manner to really know how to raise your children, but more so understanding them first and then raising them. Okay. Because a lot of parents make this mistake, like even my own parents, like they would want me to do this and I hated it. And the things that I wanted to do, they're like, no, 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 no. And it was like a waste of time, or it was just, kind of wasting away life, you know. So it's important to understand this. And the beauty of this is you don't even have to look at your children's chart. You don't. And I actually taught this particular technique even in my academy online at Maga Vedic Astrology Academy. But in order to know this, you simply have to know especially the position of Jupiter in your birth chart. And if you do not know, where your Jupiter is, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report under the shop section from option 5 and beyond, including my consultations and my books and link to my academy, Magavedic Academy. So this way you'll know, okay, this is what it is and this is how I need to understand my children. So knowing this, let's get started with this, great quick little video. So the way you understand your children is that you need to look at your Jupiter. You need to look at your Jupiter. And the funny thing is about this, I don't even care where your Jupiter is placed. And obviously Jupiter does not change its sign's position, especially nakshatra position, in a day, unless of course you're born on a day when Jupiter is transiting in that hour from one nakshatra to the other. Then you need to know your time of birth as well. But sometimes you don't even need to know your time of birth. What you need to do is look at where your Jupiter is placed, okay, and see what nakshatra Jupiter is in. Then what you need to do is look at the fifth house from Jupiter. So look at the fifth house from Jupiter and see which nakshatra is landing fifth from your Jupiter. So for example, let's say your Jupiter is in the nakshatra of Bharani, in the sign of Aries, okay? That means you go 5 houses from Jupiter, which lands you in the sign of Leo. And let's say Jupiter is at 15th degree of Bharani nakshatra. So that means 15th degree in the sign of Leo is which nakshatra? Purva Falguni. And from that you automatically know what your firstborn child will be like. This is not your children in general, because all the children are different. And one thing I will say, in my research I have seen this works more for in a father's chart, because usually the child, whether it's male or female, they're inheriting more of paternal lineage karma versus even the maternal lineage karma. Now, is that the reason why or what? But in my research, I've found really like Jupiter Nakshatra to be working really strongly with the male. Also female I have seen, but those are sub traits. Those are not the exact traits that you will see from a male chart. So I mean, and it is what it is. I don't care about you thinking I'm like some anti-feminist or something. If you do think that, screw off. Because I do think people are just so sensitive and political now. It just you touch them a little bit and they'll be like, oh, I got a fracture on my on my bicep. So let's say your Jupiter is in the nakshatra of Bharani. And let's say your spouse, whether it's your husband, your wife, you guys are very private people. You just like to kind of be in your own world, and you're very studious. You guys are, research PhDs, and most of your time goes into consuming knowledge more than anything else. And what happens is your child will be like, I want to go play at this friend's house. I want to go to their birthday party. I want to go and do this activity in school because it's fun. And you're like, no, no, this is wrong. Stay home. No need to go outside. Stop being this way. Da 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 da. We have all heard this. Why is it that if you have this particular Jupiter and your child is this way, you need to actually encourage that? Hey, you want to go hang out with your friends? Of course. Go hang out with your friends and make more friends. You want to go in school and meet these people? Okay, let's arrange this. You want us to have a big celebration for Diwali or Christmas? Well, we're not really like that, but you know what? For you, we'll do that. Why? Because a Falguni, a Purva Falguni individual wants to create network circles, wants to go to all kinds of events, whether it's private events, corporate events when they grow up. They need to have fun. They need to have party. They are Bhaga. They're literally one of the trillionth limb of the Bhaga being reborn on this planet. So when you're not that way, you're kind of putting your institutional values on them because, hey, that's how you grew up. And you're like, that's a look at me, how I turned out. I'm a PhD. So I'm going to do the same thing to my children and they're going to become the same way. And that's not how it works. One of my great friends who is an actor, both parents are physicians, surgeons. And he's been in acting and music for past God knows how many years. He's in his 40s now. And when you look at it, when you study it, you see it, why these things are happening. Like, for example, especially if your child with this position wants to sleep, just in the middle of the day, they don't want to work, they just want to sleep, they just want to lie down on the bed, or they want to study from the bed. And you're like, no, you're going to go into your study room, you're going to drink your milk and study because you got a test tomorrow. And what you may not realize that your child, with your cusp from the Jupiter being Purva Falguni, they will actually learn better if they're sitting in bed, they have their comfortable things, they have their nice snacks, and they have their book. They'll learn more, they'll retain more knowledge that way than you strictly putting in some kind of an environment. So let's look at another example. Let's say your Jupiter is in Aquarius and Jupiter is in Satvishak Nakshatra. Fifth from your Jupiter lands itself in Ardhra Nakshatra. So that means your firstborn child is just going to be this wild Aghori. Like they just want to do the wild things. They want to be the black sheep of the family. If the whole family wants to go in this spot, they're wanting to go in that spot. If, the whole family wants to go to the temple and pray, they don't. They want to be perhaps out there playing video games. So how would you understand and how would you try to work in that situation? Well, if you know the themes of, Ardhra, what you would do then, you would help your child by getting them into yoga, by getting them into sports, getting them into martial arts. Like, okay, you want to experience these things here, do these things, because that Ardhra individual will enjoy doing those things. Putting them into arts, putting them into, any kind of an art that requires like dealing with sharp objects, like crafting something. And the thing is, you want to always, if you have this particular Ardhra fifth house, you never want to make them feel neglected. Because what happens with Ardhra child, they want to be different, but at the same time, they're kind of like testing you. Are you still going to love me if I don't go into that temple and I want to be outside, or I want to be just home and, not do those things? Are you going to love this little Aghori of yours? So the best thing to do, show them compassion and love. Don't be like, well, look at your brothers and sisters. We all went to the temple and we all did this puja. You didn't do it. You're not a good son and good daughter. As soon as you do that, damage happens, and it happens immediately. It's like that stroke of lightning that happens with Ardra. Be very careful with Ardra how you teach your or raise your child. You want to make sure that, of course, they're not creating havoc like arson or something, or hitting people. But if they are doing things in a more awkward way, while like on their birthday, they want to have a dark theme. On their birthday, they want to have like black balloons and black this. And like, what are you doing? Why would we do that? No, we're gonna have normal balloons. No, in that case, you want to help the child with their need. That's what they like. They want to have more darker theme. Well then, instead of getting majority of black balloons, get some black balloons, some like dark blue balloons, get like a black velvet cake. It's them. You have a Shiva in your home. And especially, let's say if they hate taking medicines. They don't want to go to the doctor. They never want to take medicine no matter how sick they are. Well, what they're really looking for is something more of an herb medicine. They perhaps will not like taking allopathic medicines, because Ardra is Rudra, the original medicine man. It made medicines with its own hands. So when you make something in front of them, like, listen, this is a plant, air. This plant will heal you. They will take that more than anything else. And this is why, again, it's very important to know the themes of the nakshatra. Like an Ardra child will cry. They will have tears. They will hold the emotions within. And then once it's enough and you have, in a way, abused them verbally enough, they will burst out like, like pretty much Shiva's third eye being awakened. Or they will howl and scream. So there's these easier points to deal with child and raising them. Then there's these difficult points where you really have to be sensitive on those parts. So whether it's your first child, second child, or the third child, they're all going to be different. And they're all going to have, certain patterns that is good for them, that they're made for that particular dharma. And once you start to work with that, it's like everything just aligns itself. And it's not just children. You can do it with anybody. You can do it with spouse. You can do it with mother, father, siblings. Like third from your Mars, the third cuspal nakshatra from Mars will represent your younger brother. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was just a quick, video to show you how to understand, your children better. And so that way you can work with them better. Okay. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these videos. And if you want to know where your Jupiter's place, what nakshatra it's in, and what's the cusp from the 5th of Jupiter, for all those information, check out the links here and click on the shop section. Otherwise, we'll see you probably tomorrow. Bye-bye.